Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we are diving into one of the most pivotal shifts that we've seen in this recent Hawks era, the transformation at the center position. Aneka Kongu has not only stepped up, but he stepped into the future of this franchise following the way he finished last season. Meanwhile, long term starter Clint Capella has entered a bit of uncertain territory with his contract expiring and his looming free agency and the questions around how much longer he can keep playing at a rotational level. We're also going to break down some exciting potential additions at center, both in draft and free agency in the offseason, and end with a quick but important league wide note. Tyson Daniels has once again made NBA history. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So Aneka Kongu's journey has been nothing short of impressive. Drafted 6th overall in 2020, he was initially viewed as a long-term project behind the veteran Clint Capella. But now, 4 seasons later, he has made it clear that, and this is still something that is up for debate amongst Hawks fans and NBA watchers in general. But in my opinion, he's made it clear that he's the starting center of the Atlanta Hawks, and he's here to stay. So let's look at some of his year by year improvement to really understand how far he's come in just 4 years. In 2020, as a rookie, he only put up 4.6 points and 3.3 rebounds in limited minutes. Just raw but promising stats. In 2021, he doubled his production with 8.2 points and 5.9 rebounds per game. We started to see that athleticism on both ends of the floor really come to shape. In 2022, he improved to 9.9 points and 7.2 rebounds, and the defense really took a step forward in that season, showing flashes of that elite rim protection that we know he can do. In 2023, he added more to his game, a subtle but steady growth. He had 10.2 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.3 assists. And then now in 2024, this jump has been super exciting. This past season, he averaged 13.4 points, 8.9 rebounds, 2.3 assists, plus a steal and a block per game, and also 32.4% from three on 2 attempts per game, and something that has just drastically improved since he's entered the league. That jumper is seriously becoming real. Since taking over the starting role from Capella midway through this past season, Atlanta's production, I guess on both ends, down low and offensive rating, has seen a noticeable uptick. Both offensive flow and defensive versatility have improved. Kongu spaces the floor more. He can defend more athletic bigs and potentially wings, and he's become kind of a vocal presence on the court and someone who's been a real good locker room guy. So in short, I believe the Hawks have found their guy at center. He's not just capable, but he is a modern one who is starting to fit more and more into today's game. So now with Kongu's rise becomes the inevitable next chapter, which is the regression and likely departure of veteran center Clint Capella. Capella is now an unrestricted free agent this summer, and the writing really seems to be on the wall. This season, he posted the lowest stats of his entire Hawks tenure, from points and rebounds to blocks, efficiency. Watching this season, the decline from the beginning of the season was noticeable. Midway through the year, the front office reportedly began exploring trade options, and Landry Fields, the former GM, had admitted that was why they were kind of sitting him out. Once it got around the deadline, they wanted to be transparent about it, and they said that they willingly were looking for trades. But after losing his starting job to Kongu, Clint was sidelined shortly after the trade deadline with an injury and did not return for the remainder of the season. While it's never easy to see a franchise contributor fade out, because Capello seriously was a franchise contributor, the Hawks wouldn't have gone to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2021 without Clint's two-way impact. But his role has clearly diminished. That being said, his experience and presence could still provide value to another team, or really even as a veteran backup if Atlanta chooses to retain him in a limited role in any way. One other name that is really worth mentioning, and I wanted to mention because he had a very solid end to his last season, Mo Gay. The young forward showed flashes of brilliance on both ends. He continues to be an elite defensive prospect that Atlanta's just going to continue to develop. But I really enjoyed what I saw from Mo Gay as kind of that. I don't view him as a long-term starter, but in those starting minutes next to Kongu, I feel like he looked pretty good. And it showed in the Hawks net rating. Uh, the team was much more effective on both ends with Mo in the starting lineup. Obviously, compared to some of the other lineups that they um, came out with, not just in the beginning of the season, but after the trade deadline. So if the Hawks go young, he potentially could find himself deeper in the rotation next year. Obviously, barring the departure of Clint Capella. So with Capella likely moving on, and Moge and them still developing, Atlanta will almost certainly add another rotational big this offseason. Someone to back up or to complement Aneka Kongu, who I think really locked in that starting center position at the end of this past season. So let's start with the draft. The Hawks will have multiple options depending on where their pick lands. The picks have landed at 13 and 22, my fault. But really how the board shakes out. Kaman Maluach out of Duke. He's kind of a raw player, but he's a 7-footer with the exact frame of Rudy Gobert, with elite defensive tools, and played at a high level in college. Derek Queen. I had mentioned him the other day as the Hawks had interviewed him at the draft combine. But he is an undersized big, but he's extremely skilled offensively, and there are super big flashes there. Some other guys, Danny Wolf, Thomas Sorber, both offer that size and mobility. I guess with Sorber bringing some more rim protection. And then some other interesting guys are Hanson Yang, who the Hawks actually went to see play at Clutch Pro Day the other day in LA, and Ryan Kalkbrenner out of Creighton, who's an established college center. So those are kind of the targets I want the Hawks to focus on in the draft when it comes to the center position. In free agency, there are a mix of veteran and real system fits to consider. My favorite target to be Onyeka's backup next season would be Steven Adams. He brings in probably the best veteran presence at the 5 you can bring in, and that real toughness and rebounding ability. Another name that is there is Al Horford, although that one is still obviously shaky. I don't know how realistic that would be, and obviously Boston values him very highly, so that's someone they would potentially bring back. But he is unrestricted, but he can still stretch the floor and defend, so he can be an effective player on a team that is trying to win, like the Hawks next year. Kevon Looney, he was an underrated piece from Golden State the past several seasons. He could offer some stability at the backup 5. Luke Cornett out of Boston, he provides size and just elite rim protection in spurts. He showed there were some super large flashes from him in Boston this past playoffs, where they actually ended up losing in the second round. And then yes, Clint Capella could still be in the mix if both sides agree on a backup role, which I'm not necessarily sure how likely it is. The front office's approach will depend on how much they value continuity versus just reshaping the bench with more youth or specialized skills. Not particularly one in particular, but regardless, expect a move. Kongu needs the right partner behind him. He can't do it on his own, but I'm excited about his future going forward. And so obviously, kind of turning the gears here, in league news, but still very relevant to Hawks fans and player development watchers, Tyson Daniels was officially named to the all-defensive first team at 2 p.m. Thursday. He joined an elite group that includes Defensive Player of the Year Evan Mobley, Draymond Green, one of the best defenders of all time, Lou Dort, and another young man, Amen Thompson. Daniels is now the second youngest guard in NBA history to earn first-team all-defensive honors. Only Kobe Bryant was younger than him. That is elite of elite company. At just 21 years old, Tyson Daniels has really just cemented himself as a franchise cornerstone for the Atlanta Hawks. His versatility, his IQ, and tenacity on defense are becoming, I guess, the gold standard for young guards across the league, and it's been super fun to have him on our team and really watch him become the player that he is now. It's a reminder of how crucial player development and defensive impact can be in today's NBA, and something that the Hawks will continue to emphasize as they build around their young core. That was at the end of last season the youngest starting five in the NBA. So to recap, Aneka Kongu has stepped into the spotlight and earned the title of Atlanta starting center, at least going forward. Capella's future is uncertain, and the Hawks are preparing to reload their big man rotation through the draft or free agency. Meanwhile, across the league, young stars like Tyson Daniels are showing us what the future of two-way basketball looks like. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Hawks Latest. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments. Who should the Hawks target at center in the offseason? Are you comfortable with Okongwu going forward as the starting five? Or do you want to draft the next future starting center for the Atlanta Hawks or sign a vet to back up Okongwu? Just let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm Zach Langley.